This week on Fade to Obsidian, we're discussing chapters 16 to 20 of Lightbringer. We recommend you've read to the point in the series before listening. We'll be discussing violence and using strong language. Your discretion is advised.
Welcome to Fade to Obsidian. Take a seat, grab a drink, and let's spill all the tea on the ships and relationships in the Red Rising saga.
Welcome, everybody, to Fade to Obsidian, your podcast of relationships, spaceships, and everything in between. We've kind of just jammed everything into the Red Rising universe at this point. Welcome, Salem, back for like 8th, 9th, 20th, who knows, time. Thank you for joining us.
No idea how many times it's been now. I should probably count.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
It's been one fewer than enough.
Yeah.
But the next time it will also be one fewer than enough.
Yes, for sure. I'm Skipper, and joined as always, but this time from prison, is Crescent. I should have said that earlier. Crescent is on a work trip, and they're
I caught some of that. I heard from prison.
Yeah.
He's at a hotel with absolutely horrible reception right now, so he might be present in this video. He might not be.
I'm having to run. Yeah, I'm having to run Discord off my Wi-Fi or my hotspot on my phone.
So,
because I can't even connect to the hotel Wi-Fi. It's so bad.
Well
then. We will try.
Let's see how this goes.
Yeah, we'll try to make it through.
This will either happen tonight, or you guys will get this much of a video, and then it'll switch, and I'll be in my regular setup.
Yeah, there you go.
Do it all over again.
Yeah, well, we've got contingency plans. It's fine. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We are talking tonight, chapters 16 to 20, which is some juicy chapters. One is one of my favorite in the whole, it might be my favorite chapter in the whole book. One of the Mustang chapters. Nicely separated tonight of Lysander gets 2 chapters. Mustang gets 3, which is, of course, why Salem's joining us, our Mustang expert, if you will. Oh. Yeah. But yeah,
what's everybody drinking?
Oh, yeah! Oh, my gosh. I have Pim's
Cup. I've been on here a bunch of times.
I know! You can just...
Yeah.
You're a regular. I have Pim's Cup, which is because I really wanted to drink it, but then I thought really long and hard, and it's because during the Lysander chapters, so Pim's Cup is the official drink of Wimbledon, politics, tennis of the, really rich people sitting around, batting things back and forth. I'm just going to pretend that it was all, coordinated, and I just didn't just want to drink Pim's Cup, so I have Pim's Cup.
Just the most laborious reference.
Pick my drink first and then go tennis. That fits into this somehow.
Yeah, do the mental gymnastics to get it to fit.
Mm-hmm. It is supposed to also contain every floating food you can, like strawberries, oranges, cucumbers, mint, and I don't have that because I'm lame. But just pretend it's a whole cocktail of all the golds just fighting at each other. That's my, my attempt tonight. All right, Crescent, what do you have?
Okay. I've got one that, I have one for each. They don't require any mental gymnastics. I've got Jerkface 9000. I will let you decide who that's for. And then I've got Lion Ale.
Nice.
Perfect choices.
Can I just ask, we don't get sponsored, but...
Liquor store's not very...
No, but who produces Jerkface 9000? What brewery
Parallel
did this?
49 Brewing Company.
Oh, I like Parallel 49. Okay.
Where are they from? Vancouver.
Yeah. I'm a fan of theirs. Okay, hilarious. All right. What do you got, Salem?
Salem, what
Sparkles.
about you?
Sparkles. I have
Oh, yeah.
Salem's Slurry. There's a
Nice.
whole big chunk of sparkles on the bottom of this, so that's what I keep looking at. You can probably see it if you're looking at the video. Which is a blueberry lemonade, sparkling water, ginger beer, gin, April, and a bunch of other random shit I have in my closet.
It's very...
So, that is why it's called Salem Slurly, because I just throw shit in it.
Yeah, it's very like witch's concoction, which is perfect. This will air on the 1st? I don't know. 4th.
All Saints Day.
All Saints Day, November 1st. So, very witchy.
All Saints Day month.
Yeah. Which that segues into, we've been celebrating Halloween, and Merlot was awesome and came up with Howlerween. So, little spin on words there. Yeah. And so right now we've got, tomorrow is the last day to enter for the costume contest and the pumpkin carving contest. So those will be announced and winners will be plastered all over the interwebs. And they earn some extra prizes. It'll be a fun, personalized Howler's Den Skelly Crux t-shirt.
Yeah. Nice. Ooh, I love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
You've been doing a great job with Halloween. We've got all of the, or Howler's Eve.
Yeah, holy shit.
Halloween. With all of movies. We've been watching lots of movies. It's just a witchy time. I think my favorite, I don't know who started it, but everyone's got their spooky names. So I love Trick or Treat. Crescent is Howler, the Crescent Moon. You're just Salem, but now you've got a witch's broom. Is it? Yeah, you've got
and some glitter.
Yep. But there is some really hilarious names. Like, yeah.
Shout out to Alcatraz, but spooky for really just throwing it down.
Yeah. Next week, Alcatraz, but spooky will be joining us, but it will be November, so I think she's just Alcatraz. Yeah. But yes,
there's some Alcatraz, but colder.
But yeah. Yeah, exactly. Love it. Well, and then that leads us into November. We've got lots of stuff happening with the Den, including the official start of the Den read along. So some of you might be watching this much later because you've started the Den read along.
Yep.
Yeah, welcome.
Which starts November 1st. We are splitting it up into 4 chunks. And we'll be doing a chunk a week throughout all of November. There will be questions of the day every single day in the month of November, so tune in and join us. So we'll be having a full overhaul of the Lightbringer channel inside the Discord. Some of you know that we've split it up into 10-chapter chunks. That way, when it released, it was easier for people to come in and talk about certain sections while they were reading. But those will all go away, and then we'll just have the channel.
Yeah. That'd be good.
Yes.
Yeah, and you guys are fitting in, well, the Den is fitting in the entire book in a month, which means that people will listen to this prior and post. You have to wait for us to be done in February. So it's not going to be, this will be the first read-along we are not matched with. But that's going to be great because then...
But there's so much.
Yeah.
Like, even just prepping for this section and, like, prepping for all of the questions. Like, I almost feel like I should have done 6 weeks like I did for Dark Age. But I'm sure I can figure out questions and everybody's going to have topics to talk about anyways. But there's so much that happens in each quarter of the book.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, they're thick. They're meaty. I mentioned... you will not have seen the episode because it comes out tomorrow, but the one we recorded in Saskatchewan, we had a discussion about how Pierce doesn't leave in chapters that are pointless. Like, there's nothing, like, no chapter in any of his sagas that, like, well, that was just for fun, and, like, you could have done without. Like, they're all so meaty and so, like, tidbit, like, factual, whatever you need to get out of that. And even if you don't realize it in the moment, then you look back later and you're like, Oh, that was the purpose of that. Like, very interesting how it's...
Everything's got its purpose.
Yeah, 100%. Well, with that, shall we jump right in for now?
To the jerk face chapters.
Jerk face. Is it 9,000? 900? 9,000?
It is.
9,000.
It's not over 9,000. Just 9,000.
Just 9,000.
He's not deserving.
That's true.
No. I will say, though, these two chapters are... I think this whole chapter chunk is one of my favorite. And even though, like, there's no action, but it's so much character development, and the Lysander chapters are really interesting because you get to see every single major player on the society side is at least seen or spoken about. Nobody is hiding during this. Because we get right into the 200, which is like basically their Senate, except not, because they have a dictator, but very interesting.
The dictator.
The dictator. The lawfully appointed dictator.
Like, she gave herself that name. Like, we can all agree on that, right? Like, she
absolutely.
wants somebody to call her the dictator. Like,
yeah. Yeah, because, is it because she doesn't also want to be a sovereign? Like, you would think...
Yeah.
She would just also call herself a sovereign, and yeah, we have two sovereigns, but they don't agree, like, they don't notice the power of the other one. But yeah, they just
which is
straight
weird, like,
to dictator.
I mean, I wonder if it's
poorly connotated name too. Like, pick something cooler.
Okay, but can we... Good segue into this is that she has no sense of style, because can we just talk about Julia pointing out Atalantia's boots when she walks into the room?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
They're snakeskin boots with diamonds on them.
Isn't it diamond encrusted skulls?
Diamonds in the shape of a skull.
Yeah. Like,
talk about tacky. Like, ma'am.
So tacky. I think everything she does is just, like, attention-seeking to the nth degree. I'm just, like, I do what I want.
I mean,
and
Lysander
I need you to
does do that.
Yeah. And
Lysander is attention-seeking to the nth degree.
No, I said Atalantia, but also Lysander. Yeah.
You said what Atalantia does.
Oh! Yeah, okay. Yeah. I don't like thinking about that. Well, and that's like he's just sitting like silently with her little posse, and at least he's got his own plans in this. But yeah, I don't know. It's really interesting, this part of we all hate, well, we don't all hate Lysander. There is Lysander apologists out there. And like at the end of the day,
better not be anymore.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
we
like,
don't know that yet. It's fine.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Oh my god, we're gonna let Skipper talk. This is for the first time.
Wow.
Well, you're spoiling things out here. The interesting thing I find is you're watching this whole thing and you don't want to root for Lysander, and you don't want the Golds to come together and band together and go against Mars. But you also, in my opinion, I wanted Atlantia to fail more than anything. Like, it's one of those, like, you're sitting there as the reader like, I don't know how to root for this and how I feel that I want to see Atalantia's demise, but that means that Lysander gets a step up and unites the Gold. Like, you're sitting there watching this whole thing. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm just cheering for the Rim at this point. I just want Dido and Diomedes, but, like, it's just a very interesting everything that's playing out of like who you're rooting for, who you're not. Like, it's such an interesting chapter.
I think for me, this was kind of that turning point. Like, and I can't remember if I've talked about it on here or just in the den, but this was one of those chapters, especially because you're rooting for Atalantia's demise. It made me hopeful that maybe Lysander would then have some sort of ulterior motive to then side with like the reformists or something.
Right.
And then later on, partner up with all of the characters that we love. And so I think in this moment, my hate for Atalantia put some rose-colored glasses on for Lysander and thought, oh, maybe this is the way to get her out of the picture.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's really... So, I mean, we can play through it of, like... you've got Julia... Bellona... is, like... She's got a pivotal part in this. And, like... is pretty much the only person who can technically stand up to Atalantia because she holds whatever... Basically, she holds the talking stick. And the talking stick means that she gets to do what she wants and puts her in her place of like, no, not your turn. No. Like, but then, like, so you get her, and then we get Diomedes and Dido coming in to put their feelings to the core. And, like, that's who, again, like, you don't really want to be rooting for any of the golds, but at least with them, I think they've got the honor. We know that Diomedes saves Cassius. We have that little bit of backstory that those are the people in the room, at least from my perspective, that I wanted to flourish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So listening this time around, like, I feel like I remember it from the first time I read it, but listening for the second time, Julia is so quippy.
Yes.
Like, this whole time, she's just like, she points Atalantia's boots out, or no, that was Dido.
I think it's Dido. If like, oh, some of us are actually trying to do that. Like,
yeah,
I thought war was in fashion. Yeah.
But I wrote it down. But Juliet talks to, can't remember who it was, but she points out to a dude and she's like, you have more soldiers than you hair on your head. And so I'm just sitting here imagining she's making a stab at him because he's balding.
Yeah.
And like, there's that. And then she literally just like, somebody shouts fuck you at her and she's like, fuck you. Right back. Like, ma'am, what kind of court are you holding?
Yeah. She is not taking any prisoners in this one. She is, yeah.
No.
Yeah. The balding joke, I was torn on whether, like, is that a bald joke? Or, like...
I think it is.
Is it also just, like, that dude has a shitload of army, like, a shitload of legions?
Yeah, it could be either way.
It's like, they kind of said it in a way, it's like, just don't have more legions than hair follicles.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to take it as a bald joke. So.
That's definitely the way I leaned, but...
Yeah. She's just, yeah. I just love it. And then she tells them of like, hey, if we go over for lunch, like I'm fining all of you who deal with my like low iron or whatever. It's basically like...
All you ate for 4 years was hatred.
Yes. Yeah, right?
Because she wanted to eat somebody's heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like she's kind of that untalked about character too. I think she had a few good moments to shine in this, even leading up to this. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to see her side of things.
Yeah, because she's always spoken about, and like we see her maybe at the gala, but not really. Like this is her first that we really get a lot of her and who she is and what role she does in fact play in the society. Because as much as she's pretty much the last Bellona, that is one of the strongest families. That's the whole reason we get the first trilogy, is because they're such a strong family. And this is kind of, we see where that comes from. Like, yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, I would say Cassius definitely gets his mouthiness from his mother.
Oh, yeah. Most
Yes,
definitely.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I purposely wore my complex female character shirt because we've got on the one side, in this, I think the strong three, Julia, Dido, and Atalantia, all hold their own. Dido is kind of a little bit more reserved in this, in comparison to what we've seen previously, but we definitely get the three of them, and then when we get to Mustang, there's some strong female presence in all of this. They've come to play, all of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
We love good, strong female rep.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Which then, yeah, so Dido and then Diomedes comes in, and like, poor Diomedes, where he's like, he was not supposed to be the family head. He was supposed to be the sword. Like, there's like a whole, like, Lysander's got a whole inner monologue of basically how terrible at talking and like doing a speech Diomedes is.
Yeah, he is not a politician, not even one little bit.
No.
Yet Lysander has the biggest man crush on Diomedes.
Don't we?
Because he's everything that Lysander lacks.
Yeah.
True.
Needle calls him Dio Daddy.
Oh, we call him Diomedes.
Both are appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. When are we getting that on merch?
When,
Hey.
I don't know, sometime.
Some point. Maybe
Yeah.
for Christmas.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Maybe for Valentine's Day this year.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
That would be a good one. Hilarious. Yeah, they come in kind of with their plea of, you know, the Rim has supported you, and then get absolutely demolished of like, I love everyone's quips at them of like, sorry that like we have to rebuild cities and you don't. And like the back and forth that we hear of, then someone else goes like, well, wait, maybe we didn't demolish our own city. It's like they've got all of this like inner fighting that is so interesting, based on like somebody says one line and four different people have a different point of view and all of this. Like,
Yeah. Tell there's a lot of acid in the.
I want to know how the Corps has even accomplished anything with the fact that they fight like that all the time.
right?
How are you leading these people? Which, I mean, Lysander really points out later, but like, how are you leading these people when you can't even come to any kind of like in the middle?
Yeah. Seriously. Which is why, like, you kind of want Atalantia to prosper in this, because that means the society would just crumble, because they're always at each other's throats, rather than Lysander managing to unite them. It's like, oh, now they're actually a strong force. Like, they looked like they were falling apart, and now they're actually a strong force. Yeah. But, yeah, because then we have Lysander finally stands up against Atalantia, and, like, poor Ajax is just staring on, being like, don't do it. Don't do it. And actually, I like the way he does it to distract
you're not gonna
them
leave this room
all.
alive.
Is to just look up briefly and down so that everyone can see that Atlas is just, like, perched. Just
Yes.
chilling.
Just hanging out.
Also, like, Atlas, I think one of the questions that I wrote down was, what could the looming foreshadowing of Atlas in the rafters be? Like, what do you think that means?
Part of me, and it's hard because we've read it, so I don't want to, like, I'm trying to think back to my first read through. It feels very Puppet Master of like, hey, I'm gonna watch, because it's not from the side he's watching. It's not like he's sitting there and going, I'll just let this all go through and sweep up. You know, he's sitting with the crows, so doing as crows do of coming through after. But the fact that he's above them all, it feels very puppet mastery to me. Of like, what are you like? You're clearly conniving of something, or are you just being threatening on Atalantia's part, and she's the one being like, something's going on.
Well, yeah, like for me, first time through, it's like it's very obviously just like this is just a straight up threat.
Yeah.
But then he's like, it's actually called out in the chapters of him being almost a literal sword of Damocles. And like, I don't know. I think he's basically a warning for Lysander, and it's foreshadowing that if Lysander is gonna fuck around, he's gonna find out at the end of a poll.
But yeah, so he hanging out there, like, yeah, definitely threatening. But like for me, it was, is he on? Because you always assume he's in Atalantia's back pocket. But with some of the stuff happening, it's like, is he doing his own? Like, is he also crafting behind the scenes here of what's happening?
Right.
But yeah, and then Lysander drops the bomb on them of finally gets to talk, goes toe to toe with Julia on whether or not he has the right to interject. And this is like
I was gonna say
nerd brain politics that I love the rules and the like Robertson rules of order. Robert's rules of order. Like, I love this real stuff. So the fact that he's like, actually, as the descendant of one of the like conquerors, I have, well, then you need 30 people. Actually, I have it. Well, fine. Like, it's so good. And then Atalantia being like, throwing a hissy fit of like, no. And she's like, Julie's like, sit down. Like, no, we will have order. Like, I just love the like how the politics and the rules lay out. Like, can I have their version of the Robert's Rules of Order, please? Can I have that? I want to know all the parliamentary
I also love
order.
I also love how leading up to that, Lysander and who was it? Whoever he was. This was so many chapters ago for my brain where I'm at. Whoever he's conspiring with. I think it was Valeria.
Yeah.
But and literally sitting have like a secret code of blink 3 times. It's time.
Yeah.
Like you
I got something in my eye.
Like you orchestrated this enough to like have a secret code and everything. Like, have to do that.
Yeah. It's so great. Yeah. And then
just matching Atalantia.
Oh, for sure. Like going toe to toe. And then the hollow cube is produced, and you get kind of the big reveal that Apollonius and the who is it? His enemy.
Carthia,
are in the same room. And have, come to a ceasefire and reveal of, like, this was Darrow. This was not us. Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, about Venus.
Yeah.
Or, about that, where they're like, oh, yeah, we didn't blow up the dockyards. He did.
Mm-hmm.
And
Darrow and Severo.
just explode.
Yeah.
Where, like, of the presidents. Oh no! And like Darrow did that, and it's that whole kind of Scooby-Doo kind of thing of, oh well, I'll get you back.
Yeah.
You and all your friends.
I think it's interesting that when he's that there in Severo, he doesn't mention that Cassius was there.
No.
I wonder if if Julia was to find out that Cassius was alive on the other side, what does she do?
I want to know the dynamics of that, because that is interesting to think about, that she doesn't know or that she might not know. Yet Diomedes has literally been standing in the same room with her multiple different times and has not said a single thing about Cassius to her.
Yeah, because Diomedes has no reason other than him letting Cassius go, but in theory, there's nothing for him to actually hide. So why would Diomedes be protecting that? Unless they all know that she will go off the rails and they don't have all her money if Cassius is proven to be somewhere.
Is it known that, because Cassius in Dark Age, when we find out that Cassius is alive and he had stolen all the things, when he just went and he took a bunch of reserves at the beginning of Lightbringer.
Yeah.
Wasn't that from Bellona? So
No, it was Vodum.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah.
So many houses, I can't keep them straight.
I thought Telemanus gave him a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, they did, but I think Cassius went and snagged a bunch of stuff from somebody.
Okay.
Because they needed the helium-3 to get out.
Yeah, let me...
Helium-3 reserves.
Yeah, let me look and...
He's looking something up. I don't know. It's one of those rare times he doesn't know off the top of his head.
The helium is stamped with the Bellona eagle.
Yeah. So he's taking it from his own reserve somewhere.
Mommy dearest.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily say. Yeah, it doesn't really say where he got them. It just says that they're stamped with the eagle.
Yeah.
Oh, the reason I thought it was...
Courtesy of my mother's smuggling operations on Starwold. Always did love filching from her purse.
Yeah, so he stole it.
Yeah, he just stole it from her.
As one does.
It's my last name too, I can have it.
Yeah. Isn't he like the last Bellona after her? So basically it's his inheritance.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same. But yeah, that's a very interesting
I wrote down previously why... I wrote down previously why I thought it was Scooby-Doo. Was, it is Darrow and his wicked little henchman, too.
So Scooby-Doo. Yeah. I would have gotten away with it. No.
Yep, pretty much.
I was just going to say that, like, Apollonius would be a complete idiot to admit that he had Cassius, because of especially how he treated Cassius. Of, like, no matter what side, at least don't put him in a prison that he is, sucking, like, algae from a pipe or whatever it is.
Sucking from a rusty pipe.
Yeah. Like, you're not going to do that to a peerless Scard. So, Apollonius is never going to
admit... you went and fed Darrow.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, you fed the red.
Yeah, you fed him, like, just because you wanted to fight.
Obviously, Apollonius is a favorite. It's not Cassius.
Yeah. I think we knew that.
We knew that Darrow was Cassius's best friend.
Turns out Darrow is also Apollonius's best friend.
Yep.
This is really how Darrow... Literally, no, it is. It is how Darrow has survived, is just the power of friendship. Is at the end of the day.
Yep.
Why Darrow is still alive is
the realizing was the friends we made along the way.
I need that on a shirt.
Oh my god, I'm writing that one down.
Honestly, that's a good den shirt too.
That is,
Like
yeah.
the real Howlers,
I feel like you
and
need
it's
to
the
take
friend
that
we
one
made
for the
along the way.
den. Yeah.
Okay, it was. I'll just re-listen to it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll send it to you. But
Okay.
yeah, so Apollonius is revealed, and that kind of unites everybody. Of well, if the two of them can, and Lysander is very good. He's a politico. He's very good at talking. He's very good at speech making, and calls it out of like we haven't done anything because we all continue to fight. We need to stop this. So we see he's gonna finally they're gonna wage war on Mars, and Atalantia is still going to Luna.
Well, and it's funny because Lysander brings out, God, he just has such a personal complex that I think that's why it's frustrating to want to root for him, because he just doesn't. He's pulling personalities from everybody that is not himself.
Yeah.
So he's pulling from the Lightbringer. He's pulling from what's his face, where he's literally quoting him on "Where have all the good shepherds gone?"
Yeah.
Like, my dude.
Yeah.
Look at all the people that are in this room, and you're yelling at them about that. No.
Yeah.
Take your reserves and go somewhere else. Which, I mean, is what he does, which is fine.
Yeah.
So, and I think at this point in my reading, especially with the first time, it definitely made me question, like, how is Lysander not a reformer like his parents?
Yeah.
At this point. Because it's just like he's trying to go his own way and do his own thing, but he's definitely using a certain language that is not the same as what the core has right now. And I think when I was first reading this, I couldn't quite tell if that was based off of something he truly believed, especially given that he finally understands about what Atalantia did to his parents, or if that was more of just him playing the show and getting all the reformers on his side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard.
I think he's almost like a wannabe. Like he almost wants to be both sides. Like he thinks that he wants the best for, everybody. But like really he just wants the best for gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he's still young, but he's going through some kind of existential or like identity crisis, I guess. Of like doesn't understand where he fits in this world. And, I really like when they call out like all of the names he's been called, like, and he fully is like, I know, like, I'm the traitor, I'm this, I'm only coming back to leech from all of you. Like, but so I think he's trying to be his ancestors while also trying to carve a path for himself, and you can't be both. Like, either you are a loon or you're not, and he's walking this edge so finely that it's like, well, what are you? Are you going to be a loon and take, the sovereign position, or are you going to, go with what you were raised? It's very, I think, almost nature versus nurture of like what's in his blood versus, I think Cassius probably did rub off on him. And I mean, also nature would be his parents being the reformers. It's somewhere in that blood. And he knows that now, that they were reformers. And these are the people who killed them off, right? Like, we finally get him addressing Atalantia in this, of my parents send their regards or whatever it was. And,
Yeah.
you finally see him working through that, but he won't, I think, admit to being either side because he wants to play both sides, be both sides. It's very interesting.
And I think
He
it
wants all the upsides and none of the downsides.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. And I think we've all been there. We're all late 20s, early 30s, and it's not. We've all seen that early 20s phase of where you don't really know who you are and you're trying to find yourself. And Lysander's put into this position of power and doesn't know how to deal with it. So not only has he been secluded because he was stuck with Cassius on the Archimedes and not really had the social experiences that he probably could have, he also has no leadership experience but has been thrust into this role and thinks that he can do it because he's studied leaders. And that's not how it works.
Yep.
You lead from experience.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how many people's experience you read.
Yeah.
If you can't apply your own experience to a situation, it's only going to be theory.
Yep.
And it makes me wonder if he can ride this out for the rest of Lightbringer and then into Red God of like how long can he put on this show of not actually knowing from firsthand experience and just wing it until somebody realizes that he's full of shit.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. See how things unfold.
Yeah. I was going to say the last relationship I just wanted to touch on is the Ajax one. We see him and Ajax unified, and especially at the end where Atalantia thinks that she's got Ajax back, and Ajax holds up the sign of the Minotaur, meaning that he is on Lysander's side. So, the childhood friends raised almost as brothers are back together after trying to kill each other. Well, I don't think Lysander ever tried to kill Ajax, but Ajax definitely tried to kill Lysander.
Yeah.
So that's a very interesting, good on Ajax. Like, again, you don't want to really root for the guy. He's evil. But at the same time, you feel bad of, like, he is a victim of his circumstances. He has had no parental guardian. I'm not going to say the word Crescent. He coined something last episode that I am not repeating.
It's terrible. Awful.
In regards to Atalantia. But he has had no strong parental role models. And this is finally, I think we see in this of like, this could be their found family. Of they are finally standing up, the two of them, for themselves.
Yeah.
I also find it interesting too with the fact that Atalantia is such an abusive lover, if you could call her a lover. She's so abusive. She was to Ajax, and that's why he told Lysander, you need to make sure you kneel.
Yeah.
And then just with all of the issues that Lysander had with her in just the previous chapter 15, where it's he goes and he talks about all these things, and to finally have Ajax on his side, where it's like Ajax realizes that all of the things that, like, he knows inherently, he knows that Atalantia is doing terrible things to them, but he's realizing that if Lysander can escape it, he can escape it too, which is kind of, it's an interesting moment to have for these characters that we really dislike. And that is what makes it so hard to end up liking them and then disliking them.
Yeah.
Because you feel for him just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I know. I feel like all the characters I can at least somewhat feel, even Julia, Bellona, like, I can feel for them a little bit, with the exception of Atalantia. There is no angle that I can see of, like, yeah, sure, play up that the rest of your family's dead, but you pretty much caused that, and you were screwed up to begin with. Like, you were fucked up before your sisters and your dad died. Like, you don't get to play any victim cards at Atalantia, rather than at least everybody else has, you know, some grief to them, some, you know, reasoning on doing what they're doing to protect people, or, you know, Atalantia is I think the only one that I look at and I'm like, no, there is no angle to this that I can get behind.
She's a straight up.
You are just bad for bad's sake.
Yeah, she's a straight up narcissist.
Yeah. I would say she's the character that if we find the person that's the Atalantia apologist, that's the big red flag. At least the Lysandra apologist, you look at it and you're like, I can see where you're coming from, but you're not correct. But Atalantia, like, just no. Just no. So,
I just really...
I want to say one thing.
Yeah.
The Apollonius horns.
Yes!
How do you think the Apollonius horns go?
Yes!
Is it this? Is it this?
I imagine...
Oh, you're feeling the double... We need to describe what we're doing for the Spotify people, Salem.
Yes.
Salem is all about describing for the Spotify listeners. And Google Podcast and Apple Podcast. But... So...
Yeah, which is new.
Yes, we're now on Apple. We are now on Apple. I finally figured out how to get an Apple ID is all that was holding up. But, okay, so we're doing the hand, kind of the rock-on symbol is what I would call it.
The metal horn.
Yeah.
I think I've always imagined, like, that almost feels silly to me, but at the same time it's not.
It's on the forehead, like, right?
Yeah, like, it like, that's on your forehead. It's almost like a loser sign. Like, that, it feels silly to me, but at the same time, I could totally see, that one too. I also feel like when Ajax turns around and looks at Atalantia, he just pulls both hands up and just puts them by his face.
One finger on each,
Just, like, does a bullhorn that way. Like, and then just turns
But then
around
you're
and walks
holding,
away.
I guess their razors are actually usually wound around them in some capacity. I'm just thinking, like, if you're holding a weapon where, like, that involves everybody having two hands free to do double, like, one hand on each side. At least the one, like, the rock on, is that I'm going to call it, is going to take one hand. But here's what is it? It's up there with the crux where everyone can't figure out what fingers we're crossing.
Yeah. He did the crux at HowlerCon, and it's where you cross both of your two fingers on the inside of your hand versus a normal, like, cross your fingers.
Yeah.
But there's no symbol for this anywhere.
Isn't this West
So making
Side?
art for it's hard.
West Side.
Yeah. West Side.
All right. Final thoughts on the Lysander chapters.
Lysander's going to war again. There's another chance for him to get popped.
Hope so.
We can only hope.
I think we hope
Crescent's doing a wiggle dance for everybody that can't see.
Okay, Crescent, you gotta finish your less than 9,000.
Yeah, you finish that. I gotta get another ginger ale so I can get more
done.
pins.
Oh, there you go.
Finished it right on time.
All right, one moment. I'm gonna steal the joke we just
back
made.
to Lightbringer.
Back to Lightbringer. Happier things. Well, while we're on a little bit of a break, yes. So join the Patreon, because they get some of the things that we clip out get sent to them so that they get to watch our ramblings behind the scenes. We also did the 10-hour stream. All of it, by the time this comes out, you will be able to watch if you really want to sit there and watch 6 hours, because the first 4 did not have audio. 6 hours of recording. Go for it. I've been doing also Sims 4 Rags to Riches just for the Patreon, which has been a lot of fun. They get postcards if you sign up for that level. So join our Patreon, link in bio. As well as if our plea is that we get to 200 subscribers by New Year's Eve this year. And we do average around 200 listeners. So if you all just subscribed, we would be very happy human beings.
Yeah.
Subscribe to the YouTube. Do it.
Yeah, even if it's mildly inconvenient, please pop over to the YouTube and just hit subscribe.
Yeah.
If you want to pop through the videos and hit some likes too, that would be super awesome.
Talk to me in the comments.
Like and subscribe.
Every once in a while.
Yeah, we're gonna
respond. I promise to get better at answering the comments.
Yeah, they used to pop up for me. They don't anymore.
Yeah, they don't. And so then it's only every once in a while when I'm checking the analytics that I go through and I go, oh, I've got like 2 months worth of comments, and I'll reply. So I will make a promise to do that weekly.
We are gonna try and get Joel in for an interview if we get to 200. So
yeah, let's get us jump on over there.
How many you guys got on?
We are on Spotify.
It's like 134 or something.
I thought it was like 126, but yeah, Spotify is up there as
somewhere around there. It's way higher than I thought.
Yeah, kudos to you, Spotify listeners. We appreciate you as well, even though we make jokes all the time about you. Thank you very much. And actually, there is now a new Spotify playlist that I have created that if you want, and somebody in the den is doing this, that if you are doing a read-through of any of the books, Lightbringer is a little iffy at the moment, but any of the first 5 for sure, and you want to listen to all 4 of the major Red Rising podcasts, so Hail Reaper, Howler Pod, Words and Whiskey, and ourselves, there is now a playlist that you can find, and it will put them all in order. 90% of the playlist is Words and Whiskey. Turns out they talk a lot. And I have named the podcast, or the playlist, Fade to Hail, Howler, and Whiskey. So if you look up Fade to Hail, Howler, and Whiskey, you will find that playlist and see through. It is a little bit awkward just because how Hail Reaper does theirs. They are not broken down to section, but the rest of us did chapter chunks, so you can read through, even if you don't want spoilers. They're not all obviously evenly broken up because we all did different. It's interesting of how we all came to different decisions on where chapters should be broken up. So it'll be a little bit of a back and forth, but I have faith that you can make it through. But yeah, that is on there. It is so many hours of listening. So
yeah, there's
I was just gonna say, did you see how many hours there are? Because I haven't looked.
It just on mine when I do on the computer, I haven't checked from the thing, and as we are recording this, it is only us and Words and Whiskey because I only got permission from the other 2 this morning, and so just us and Words and Whiskey are 91 episodes, and it just says 24 plus hours, but my guess is it is probably more like 180 because Words and Whiskey averages at 3 hours an episode and we average at 2.
That's wild.
So we haven't even got.
We got lots of stuff to say.
That's true. And there's a lot of drinks to drink between us and Words and Whiskey. Yeah. You can get so many different themed drinks. But yeah, also check out all 3 of those other podcasts. We love them all to death. They're fantastic.
That's
true.
Yeah, we drunk prank call. Oh my god, I'm drunk now. Drunk prank called Howler Pod. I do know Aaron has listened to it.
Yeah, the voicemail.
Yes, which makes way more sense. My Crescent's in jail right now.
Oh my God! Yes, Justin. Crescent's
Apparently,
in jail.
Howler Pod likes Skipper more than I. So
I got
only enough money for bail on one.
I got bailed out. During the Patreon, they
we needed our editor out of jail
live. Yeah. Listen, we've got to still somehow put this up. We can't trust Crossland/Gambit to edit all our videos. He's got too many of his own to do.
and there's so many ums and uhs here.
He'd be so mad.
I can't wait. They owe us a recording. We are supposed to do Sons of Ares Volume 3 at some point with them, and I am so excited to see how that goes down. And
Gambit, it's going to be chaos for them.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I think they know going in. It'll be fine. Seeing how Gambit or Crossland is one of our Patreon supporters. He was there during the live stream. He knows how this works. So, yeah. So let's get in.
So Mustang.
So let's get into Mustang.
The chapters. This is the start of, for me, my favorite chapters in the whole book. The first two of this three. The third one in this is cool. It's fine, but I really like what is it?
Yeah.
The first two here. So
I find it funny that when I was taking my notes, because I have all my notes on my phone right now, I squished together all of my Lysander things into just 16 and 17, and then 18, 19, and 20 are all like giant chunks with their own chapter headings.
Perfect.
Let's see who I actually enjoy reading.
Yeah.
It's Lysander.
Yeah.
She was enjoying it so much she couldn't stop to take notes.
Yeah. Well,
Salem is glaring at me for anybody not watching on video.
I'm not sorry.
That's fair. Totally valid.
Yeah. Well, let's get into our girl, our favorite. We start, and she's our sovereign. She is descending, and we don't quite know who she gets at the beginning of this, though, yes, they're there. And her literally jumping off the plane. She doesn't wait for it to land. She's just like, okay, bye.
Such a badass move.
Yeah.
That's superhero
shit. Can't contain her excitement.
Yeah, because it is our fallen heroes, as it were. We get Screwface, Thraxa.
The Returned.
Harnassus and Callaway.
Callaway. Yeah.
Yeah. And just such sweet moment of, she describes them first. It's interesting, and goes through each one of, Thraxa being the big sister who taught her archery
Boxing.
in New Zealand. Boxing in New Zealand.
Boxing in New Zealand. That's very Thraxa.
That's such a Telemanus thing.
Yeah. Screwface, who has always been her favorite howler, she says.
Oh my god.
Goes on about Screwface. I think this is we really get cemented the love of Screwface in this book.
This is kind of the first time he really gets love.
Yeah. And I think that's a lot
obviously Darrow's happy to see him in Dark Age. But it's not
that kind of relationship.
It doesn't highlight this guy, gave up basically everything.
Yeah.
Twice.
Exactly. To take down the society, and no one's ever known him for it.
Yeah.
I really liked how Mustang has that moment of, yep, Screwface is my favorite. I've always liked him. I like how she points out that he got his, I can't remember who was first. One of them got their cloak only a week before the other one.
He was
Screwface
2 weeks.
First.
Yeah, Screwface was a couple weeks before her, she says. Yeah.
And then she just goes on to talk about I like how Pierce is getting into tying in how different characters notice some similar things. And I noticed that a lot with Darrow and Virginia, where they do notice a lot of the same things, but the way that they process it is very different. And how Darrow, especially back in like Dark Age or at the beginning of Lightbringer, talks about how Screwface is so unhappy and he's just depressed, and he feels for him, and he understands that like he used to have this beautiful face and now he's missing limbs, and he feels for him in that regard. But literally Virginia looks at him and is like, oh my god, this man has gone through so much and I love him so much. He may not know that I do because he's my husband's friend, but I do care for him on a very particular level. And seeing him feel so insecure about himself all over again after he was built up again is just so heartbreaking.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I love that. Go.
I really like that that she goes down the line of Thraxa and then Harnassus and Calloway, and she specifically says like, I saved Screwface for last so I can spend more time on him, like to show him that he is seen, that he is appreciated.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Of like, her immediate embrace is with Thraxa, the older sister, right? Like, it is, that's who everyone expects her to spend the time on. And then talks about, you know, she doesn't know Harnassus and Calloway very well, but gives them their time. But it's then Screwface who gets all the attention, and, you know, very much paying attention. And then, you know, after that we get who's standing in the window but Victra. And I love it, of like, she's you kind of get who it is at first, but she's still described in such a like the broad-shouldered figure, like doesn't get named until it's like it's Victra. And with the news that they know that Darrow and Severo, they know that they are alive, that they left Darrow alive to go find Severo, that's what information they have. And Victra then is just, both of the women have this like united passion of kind of, our husbands are there. And Victra picks up Mustang and twirls her around.
Yeah.
Like, we miss doing that at HowlerCon.
I was just gonna say. I'm sure it happened at one point when we were drunk, but, you know, there was nothing to record it. So.
Yeah, nobody saw me twirl you around. Yeah. Yeah. And this is kind of the moment.
Do we remember? No.
No. But this is also the moment, like, it's kind of a huge step for Mustang. And we left them at the end of Dark Age with their four heads together, united front. But this is kind of the moment where Mustang really talks about how Victra is the sister that, like, she didn't want, but she needs. And how past Victra would have just gone after them and left Mustang high and dry, and knew, like, current Victra is there for Mustang and will support her to the end. And even when Mustang has to give the unfortunate news of, we can't go after them, like, it's not the smart thing to do, Victra listens, which is probably the first time in her life Victra has ever listened.
Yep. To anybody.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just such a cute, sweet chapter between all of them. Yeah. I mean, and then they all, you know, Mustang doesn't want to ask them because they're all war beaten, and, you know,
but she knows the answer.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Who's fit for war, or whatever the line is, and all of them go, yep, me. And it's like, oh, it's just
like, guys, just sit down for a day.
Yeah.
They can't.
No.
Why would they?
No. But yeah, I just really like that chapter. And
I really liked the way that, and you were kind of touching on it, of the way that Victra and Virginia's relationship has evolved, and how now they're on this united front of our husbands are in the same place and we have our own things to protect, so it's better to do it in numbers in comparison to not. And which is really cool, because before we weren't really seeing, I don't know, a lot of people really still didn't trust Virginia, even through Dark Age. And so having finally, and especially because Virginia, like, it's interesting because she doesn't necessarily talk about it a lot in this section, but she doesn't really comment on the like losing a lot of her friends that she had prior to this, and now she just has all of her husband's friends.
Yeah.
And so being able to actually form relationships with them is really kind of special to see for a character development.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Let me get into a sweet in a different sort of way chapter.
Yes. This is my favorite chapter,
Honestly,
possibly of the book. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's the chapter that remains with me the most in the book is this one.
Yeah, I was listening to it while I was working today, with my apprentices, and I'm just listening in my earbud, and this chapter's rolling through, and I'm like, it's like fish hooking sobs out of me, like just about. I'm starting to tear up. Come on, keep it together, man.
Yeah, I cried today listening to it, and it's my second time.
Oh, I would have if I was alone, for sure.
Yeah, I cried today
because we start out with them down in Lycos.
Yes.
Yeah.
In this chapter,
and it is all of our power players are there, led by Deanna, is the one who is saying, walking through the gallows, saying like, so they hung my husband, and you get Cavix's voice, and then like, and then they hung, what is it, her brother, and Holiday has to say the voice of, and it all connects with I think the one that doesn't real, like Victra saying EO, it's like there's not, well, at the same time though, Victra for the longest time, her daughter, and she thought that Severo was dead, so her husband. That's true. Child. I forgot about that one. You're right. So Victra saying the child's name of my daughter, and then, but it's just such a passionate, you get Deanna, you get Cavix, Holiday, Thraxa, Victra, Mustang, all chanting with all 14 colors. It is the united front where this whole story began. I'm gonna freaking tear up talking about it. It's just so moving and so amazing.
And then they come in and they smash that gallows to flinders.
I love how prior to them smashing it, they say, "We are reapers," and then they kill the gallows.
Yeah.
Another quote that I wrote down from here that also I love from that section is, it's in reference to Deanna, and it's, "She seems mother of us all."
Yeah.
Which is like so true. She is literally like, she is that mother figure that I think most people either have or wish that they had in their life. Mm-hmm. And she's willing to be that mother to all of them.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely. There's actually another quote about Deanna that I really liked. That was, I see the look in her eyes, and I realize that it's no mystery where Darrow gets his rage.
Yeah,
I loved that one. Well,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's so moving, so beautifully done. Like, I think if it was, any other author could have had the idea for it, but it's executed so well by Pierce. And I also think it mirrors what we've seen in, especially the original trilogy of the Iron Reigns, what the Golds, their
almost it's
services,
very
like,
reminiscent of the
yeah,
Phobos address.
exactly.
Mhm.
Like, well, I was gonna say the ceremonies that the Golds do, especially on the Rim, where like Darrow steps back and they do this, like, hey, we're going to war. This is what it is. But yeah, the Phobos address.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just kind of their own twist on hyping up the soldiers, and this is why, and the civilians, of like, hey, you're going to be attacked. I think people don't often think of the fact of like all these civilians, like, so they purposely have all 14 colors there, and we know that they will use, well, I don't think we know whether or not pinks fall in the rain, because the pinks would automatically die. So like, yes, they would have different roles within the army, but there's going to be civilians, there are going to be children that, you know, and parents worrying about those children of what is the purpose, and this drives home what that purpose was. And it's just such a beautiful, beautiful scene. And then from there extends Mustang's going through what all the legions are and who's leading what. And I love her description of Pegasus Legion, of, you know, talking about how they've still stuck around. They are the closest to Darrow, even though he's not there. The Obsidians are no longer there, but there are still a few, mainly women, and what that Pegasus Legion has to do under, is it Victra now who has the Pegasus Legion, or is it Holiday? It's Victra, because Holiday
She gives
stays.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she gives it to Victra.
Yeah. And all those kind of honorary things. I love this scene so much. It's just such a beautiful chapter.
How dare you make me cry at work, Pierce?
Yeah. He thrives on our tears.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They give him life.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
I also like how I don't remember the full context of it, but Victra and Virginia are talking about what drink they're gonna give
Yes.
Lysander. A vodka punch with a lemon twist.
Yeah.
Victra's just like, wait, what?
Yeah, because it's gauche and he would hate it. It's what they're gonna drink over his corpse.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
How metal is that? Here,
Right?
let's decide our drinks that we're gonna have over his dead body.
Yeah.
Like, okay, ladies.
Yep.
Calm down. Yeah.
We stand a murderous queen.
Yeah, we do. Both of them. Both of them at this point. We don't normally get this part of, like, Victra, we've seen kind of this, like, we, you know, I'm out for
Warmonger.
blood. Yeah, we don't usually get that from Mustang. So even, like, the fact that how she delivers the, like, yes, I want his corpse is in such a, like, classy way, almost, of, like, this is what I'd like to be drinking. Like,
Yep.
yeah.
In that scene too, Victor calls Virginia horsey.
Yeah.
Like Severo calls her horsey, which I thought was cute. That Severo rubbed off on Victra.
We get our little pet name from her.
Ow.
Oh, don't taint this chapter. Keep my chapter pure and only, you know, fueling the armies.
Only bloodlust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the second half of this
Also,
is all bloodlust.
Also, I really love that Virginia notices. She's like, you know, all these people have their faces painted red, and then I noticed that there's 14 people standing with their hands wrapped.
Because she asks, where did the red...
Yeah.
Is it one person of every color?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, that would make sense. Yeah.
Because she wonders, like, she sees all... Did she see reds coming out with their faces painted? I don't remember the full quote. But yeah, she pretty much is like, I don't remember seeing paint anywhere, and then she looks down and sees that they've all cut their hands open.
Yeah. Give me a second here.
I was in the right chapter.
Most of civilians come to pray to the Reaper. Faith is dangerous, but it is also part of our power. They stretch to the horizon in every direction, beating their fists on their chests. Their faces painted red. I wonder absently who arranged for the paint. Then I see that the reds closest to mine have bandaged hands. Oh, okay, sorry.
It's the reds
That's
yeah.
Not 14. Yeah. Yeah. Then I see that the reds closest to the mine have bandaged hands. Okay. It's just red blood, but still metal as fuck.
Yeah, very. Yeah. Oh, I just love it. Just love it. And then is it the end of this chapter, or is it the previous chapter that we get the most iconic line of the whole book? Is this one where, Victra and Mustang are talking, and, what Victra has to go out and do. And then I love the conversation of,
I have the quote if you
want it. Please. Well, and start with if you have the woman scorn part, because I think that's...
Yes, exactly. That was what I was going to start with.
Yeah.
The fading dirge beats one more time, and the sea stands in silence. The morning is cold. The breeze is light. It smells of soil and armor oil and grass. Victor murmurs, "You're the bookish one. Was it a man who said, 'Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned'?" A lancer brings her gauntlets. It must have been. To imagine someone so petty as scorn to be the utmost misery a woman could suffer. What, I wonder, would he of a mother who has seen her husband sold like meat and her babe nailed to a tree? She dons her gauntlets. Perhaps, wrath, I am thee? They come for our children, Virginia. She turns to me and cups my face with one hand. Do not fear me. Instead, pity them.
Yes.
Yep.
Just freaking
I pity them on everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Yep.
I just absolutely love that line. And I think I was at the Chicago signing where Pierce, someone asked, like, without spoilers, can you say your favorite quote? Or, I don't know, somehow.
No, that was our...
It was at ours?
And Glittering Gala. It was... Yeah.
No, well,
that was...
Yeah, he said that one, but he also... Because Chicago, he said, pity them, and the whole place exploded. So it had to have been after people have read it. But yeah, he did during ours as well talk about pity them. And I wasn't there yet in the book. Crescent, I think that's when Crescent had to go pure silver of just pity them. And because Mama Bear Victra, we have seen Mama Bear Victra in maternity wear. We have seen her protect her children, and at this point, she is about to protect an entire planet, and she is here for it.
Yeah, we see immediately post-loss Victra demolish an entire mine of reds.
Yeah, that's right.
Dark Age.
Yeah, and she's back out. And there is also a line, I again don't know if it's that last chapter of this one, where she's looking out at the ocean, and Mustang says she's not looking at the ocean. She's thinking of Ulysses. And so we know she's just, this grief, this whatever other anger, hatred, rage is eating through her is about to come out in all colors. Just, we're getting our Victra.
We're getting the Victra they made.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, then we get chapter 20. Nucleus.
Chapter 20!
Yes. The start of war.
I think starting this one out, it's interesting to see the development of Holiday and Virginia's relationship.
Yes.
Because I feel like Iron Gold and Dark Age, like, Holiday was appointed to Virginia, but it was never, like, they hadn't spent time together, so it wasn't, like, it felt kind of awkward. And it's interesting now to see that Holiday is like all in on protecting Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Which, I mean, was her whole thing of why in Iron Gold she didn't go with Darrow, is because I am here for the Republic, and, you know, we see that time and time again, which is, again, why I absolutely hate that people question Holiday's loyalty. That she has proved herself time and time again. Everyone, I don't know if people at this point, but definitely still after Dark Age, people were thinking that she was the one who sold them all out. And it's like, no, come on.
Yeah. Did you guys read the book?
Right. Hey, since you brought that up, I made a point in, I don't remember, it was in the first few chapters, but it was talking about how Lysander makes some sort of snide comment, or somebody makes a snide comment about the Vox mostly being in cahoots with Julia.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, why do we think that there was a mole besides the fact that somebody in the book said that there was a mole? Like, half the Vox were on Julia's side, so of course they would just sneak her in.
Yeah.
You have, like, half of a whole Senate that is totally okay with this woman, and she says she has secrets. How is that not?
Yeah.
I don't know. This reread is definitely, I'm picking up on lots of little things. I have like a crap ton of notes.
Love it.
You've processed the grief, and now you're actually
and I'm ready to grieve again.
Yeah.
Are you on read through 2 or 3?
2. Only twice. Okay. Yeah. I had to take a break, man.
I get it.
This book.
I get it.
Fucked me up.
I was like, oh, only 2, as if it wasn't only out like 3 months ago. Like,
okay, but Crescent, how many times have you re-listened to it? Like,
this is 4.
He's on 4.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I'm on 3.
I was at the end of my third time through it when I was leaving Tulsa.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because you tried to get me to listen to the ending with you. No! Not on my way to the airport. I'm not crying, okay?
Oh my god. Can you imagine showing up at border security, or not, well, you don't have border security, but TSA, and being like, I'm fine. Don't question me too much about what's in my bag.
My friend made me listen to a book.
They already questioned me because the zipper on my pants set off their thing. I was wearing shorts. And then if I added tears to that, it would have just been like, ma'am, we're gonna need to go into another room with us.
Yeah, we gotta search this one. Yep. So funny. Yeah, so we...
Oh, okay. So we get the Black Battle Crown.
Yes!
Because now they're going into battle, which is so cool. And I had this conversation with Mole when I was reading this. He finished it before I did. And he wasn't sure he was okay with the Battle Crown because he felt like doing some sort of like high scale navigation like that or whatever was like a blues job because they're all interconnected, and they keep talking about how the crown interconnects Mustang with everybody else. But like, do you like? I thought from a strategic standpoint, if you have a gold that's leading a military, they need to be able to be interconnected with everything. So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts or opinions on that.
I definitely agree on that point, but also like, think about the boy who killed a torch ship. Like, golds are definitely capable of like at least some approximation of the blue sync.
Yeah.
Like Pax, like obviously he's wearing the halo to sync. Won't have to anymore, but
well, and like,
but yeah, so like obviously gold is capable of it, and Mustang is far smarter than any blue.
Definitely. I was going to say
really any person.
It's not even gold of like we see that Rona has the implants in so she can do the Draken, which was I think a blue versus, but I think the Republic is just at a point of if we're going to break down the colors and we're going to break down, you know, the societal bounds, then each color should be able to do anything any of the other colors do. And so that absolutely. Then gets into, okay, well, then you're going to need the tech to do things that the blues can do. This would be a continuation of this. I also just absolutely love it. And I know, Kristen, we had a discussion about this, and I feel like it was in your backyard, not on the podcast, about the Celtic women leading battles. Because it would have been involved in this.
100% we did.
Yeah. I'm always like, what was in the podcast and what was, but it wouldn't have come up until this. So if you don't know, the Celts, previous to the Romans coming to England, always women were the generals of the army because, like, we can all admit, as feminist as we want to be, that men do have tendencies to be stronger, and in a combat, men should be the front line. So you don't want your general being that front line. So they would use women, and they were not a patriarchal society, so they were fine with a woman leading as their generals to lead from the back. And you have that person who is safe, who knows everything. And this very much harks back to that in my thing of, like, obviously the golds are fine with men and women doing whatever, but just having that crown put on Mustang's head to me was very reminiscent of Boudica. She's the most famous of them. I say Boudica and then I don't remember anyone else's name at the moment, but those Celtic women who had to lead from the back and drive that force. And they would also have taken every single person into battle. Kids used to come into battle with them. And that's, I think, all of this looks very repetitive of that. I don't know if that's where Pierce is getting inspired, or it just makes sense that Mustang is that person to do it, but just she's not out there. You don't have Victra leading it, right? Like, it would make sense. Victra's the one who's gone into the battles. She's got that academy training, but she's not actually running this war. Mustang is from the back, and it's very cool just having that parallel. But I absolutely love the idea that she can then sit there and control everything, because I am that person who often forgets that these are set in the future. I think it goes on so much about Roman and Greek mythology terms that I forget that they would have such access to technology far beyond or even like thoughts, that this crown to me was the coolest thing. And we cannot get into it because the Patreon voted and we have to stop at chapter 20, but we will see more of the crown. But it's just the coolest thing in my opinion.
Yeah. To stem off of that, because we just learned previously about Psyche.
Yeah.
Lyria.
Yep.
And so we learn about all of how that came to be and the history behind it and what it was going to be used for. Do you think that this could maybe be a stem off from the original design of the Psyche? Because the Psyche was meant to control robots, essentially, and be able to, like, from a farther distance away, be able to control all of them. Whereas the crown is this thing that connects Mustang or its user, whoever it is, to all of the other parts of the military and be able to communicate with them. Do you think it could be something that's stemmed off from the psyche design, or is it maybe more of a communication device?
Ooh, I hadn't thought of that.
I don't know if it's necessarily stemming from it, but it's definitely in the same vein. Like, it talks about basically being able to basically slow down the reaction, like the input. So it's like it's speeding up her thoughts. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if some part of that psyche research ended up in the Crescent Vault.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Well, I can't remember because Victra knew about it.
Well, Victra knew that because she knew about the bounty, right? She was going after Figma.
For Figment.
Yeah. So she knew, just about that little, like, I don't know how much she knew, but yeah.
Right. Well, and then I can't say that because it's spoilers. Never mind.
Blame the Patreon. We love you, Patreon.
Well, this is like
we truly love you guys.
Well, this is
but
almost
for Red God.
from...
For Red God, we might have to overrule you the next time
sorry.
you. This is brutal.
Yeah.
If you haven't listened to past episodes, the reason we are doing exactly 5 every time is because of our Patreon voted, and they said that that's what's happening. So we are left on some cliffhangers every episode, rather than I had perfectly divided it so that it made sense. It's fine.
I was
but
so
Red
mad
God, remember this for Red God, people.
I was so mad when I got to the end of this chapter, and I was like, are you kidding me? This is where I get to end?
That's it.
I don't get to talk about the next 5 chapters?
Nope. Originally, you would have started... You would have been on originally just for, like, Mustang's first one there. You wouldn't have had to talk Lysander. Yeah. We would have only been talking Mustang for this chapter, is how it would have split up. And part of me today almost was like, guys, let's just do the next one.
Let me do it. Okay, another question I have for this, because I think this nucleus is so freaking cool. What do you think it looks like?
Ooh.
Do you think it looks like an actual crown, like a black crown with big spikes that she's putting on her head?
Okay,
or do you think it's like something else?
So it's hilarious because we're talking about this, and I have a black crown in my next room that I'm so tempted to like go and grab and just
some on here.
Yeah, we can just sit here. I don't know how we're gonna wear them with headphones on.
Is
it this? Part of me wants it. Like, I'm thinking it's not an actual like traditional crown that the spikes would send up. Part of me thinks it's like almost headband and the spikes go out. I don't know why, but almost like...
That's what I don't know what that's from, but I feel like that's from a movie, and I don't remember what movie it is, where somebody is wearing a black metal and it has like big spikes coming out on the side.
That they're like vertical.
It could be. It certainly could be. Saw.
I don't watch the Saw movies, so it's not from Saw. I've only seen Saw 4. It was in theaters, and I nearly threw up in my popcorn. And I was not 18 years old. I should not have gone into that movie because those are rated R up here. But for me, it was.
Yeah, for me, it's like pretty overkill. But I'm definitely imagining like a Lich King's crown. I played a lot of Warcraft. It's like giant,
big,
tall spikes. Like, yeah. Or the Witch King's crown or Sauron's crown.
Yeah, I can see that.
Actually, I think probably the Witch King crown is most. Let me just double check.
So for Patreon and everybody else that's listening or watching, let us know what you think the crown looks like.
Yeah, let's have...
Yeah, for real. Please provide visual representation if you can.
Yeah, if you are in the Howler's Den, we do always have a thread that matches these episodes. Or you can drop it in the YouTube comments, and I promise to look within a week.
Yep.
If you are Patreon, we have our own little channel that they can just post whatever they want, so they can drop it in there, or with the rest of the den. That's up to them. But yeah, I feel like that's the fan art we do. Where's PB Doodles on this one? I want to know PB Doodles' perspective on it.
Maybe if our patrons are really good, I can reach out and get her to come on.
Yeah, we should do a Patreon only of PB Doodles. We love her. She is in the den as well.
Do. I have another 6 mini prints from her that I need to put up.
Yeah.
I have the frames, I have the art. I just need to put the two together and put them on the wall.
Yeah. She's going to do another sticker round. I don't know if this will be out by the time that happens, but I don't remember when she's going to do it.
Yep. But, send us what you think. And I mean, on that note, just total tangent, is 2 weeks ago we asked for carved animals and what we thought the lizard cat... What is it? Lizard cat eagle? Lizard cat falcon?
Bird.
Looked like. Bird. And Shrooms did create one, and actually created 2, and then asked for feedback, and is said that she is going to work on her design. So I absolutely love that because of this we are getting the carved animals. So if you want to submit your carved animals on whatever that lizard, cat, bird thing was, as well as
it was definitely lizard, cat,
spider sloth.
I was chimera.
Purple spider sloth. Oh yeah, don't Google. Do not Google purple spider sloth. Don't Google it. That was disturbing. Thanks, Jabs. In this, I think and I don't think it's a real carved animal, but tree lynx are mentioned. That there are lynx up licking their paws in the trees. That's the only carved animal I could pick out from these chapters. Other than Sophocles is obviously everywhere. I just picture also, oh my god, can we go back to the gallows? Do you think they have Sophocles just standing next to Cavix? Or did Sophocles have to...
all the time.
Yeah.
It's like this somber moment.
Because
Sophocles is just sitting there going
like whining.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. He probably is very well trained. Sometimes peeing on the floor.
He's not. always peeing just on the floor. Yes. And he's getting crazier and crazier with every clone.
Yeah, we love Sophocles though. But yeah, any other thoughts on this?
I have one last thing, which is tangent, because you talked about Cavix. In this last little chapter, she has a conversation with Cavix, and he makes that sly remark of, your contact.
Yes.
Okay, in the den, everybody thinks that Abomination is the contact. But then I was thinking about it. It could also be Julia. Or it could also be Lysander. Because she literally, Mustang literally says, if you think the worst, that's who it is. Those are our top 3 worst people.
Well, Atalantia, but yeah.
Yep.
Well, I don't think Atalantia. That would be stupid.
No.
Julia
would be an interesting one, because that harps back to our Cassius discussion. And if Julia has suspicions that Cassius is alive working for the Republic, then yes, she would give whatever. But at the same time, then that during Iron Gold, was it Dark Age where she appears, that gives a little sus.
Yeah.
Iron Gold.
Yeah.
Lysander.
But it's at the end of Dark Age that she has the contact, so.
That's true, so maybe she's gone back on her word. Of I didn't know what I would cause almost.
And then I guess the only other weird suspecting thing I have for Julia is especially in that last like Lysander chapter with all of her mediating everything. She's mediated everything. And then like, so why is she the one, besides being a Bellona, why is she the one mediating everything and keeping justice within that whole system?
Interesting.
Versus somebody else. Oh, yeah. I mean, but it was just an interesting thought because we all think that it's the abomination because he's still there. And then he has like, I don't know, he sold Severo. He did all these other things. And, but it's like, how do you pick it up?
Yeah.
My thought is that Mustang basically has traded her hatred. Like, she's willing to talk to him.
Yeah. That's kind of what I thought
like,
too.
Make a convincing exunt of Severo from your captivity.
Yeah.
And we can talk.
I wonder.
I still think that Abomination is looking for Mustang's approval, basically. Her love.
But then where is Mustang getting the information from? Or sorry, not Mustang. Where is Abomination getting the information from? Because he is like a third player at this point. He's a third team.
Yeah. He has eyes and ears everywhere. I mean, he was able to make Lilith.
Yep.
Yeah, he has the pocket bells. Which I love how that's a thing right now in the den where everybody's like, oh yeah, birds aren't real. The pocket bells are the first example.
Yep.
Yeah. The government is watching us. Pocket bells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
The jackal is watching us.
For real. That's why they always sit on power lines.
Yeah. It is like interesting to think
They're charging.
God. It is interesting to think because, like, do we just want it to be the Abomination? Because a lot of people, and this is spoiler-ish area, but I'll say it, Abomination doesn't make an appearance in Lightbringer. Yeah. And so do we want Abomination? Are we grasping at that so that we have some connection to the Abomination in here? Right? Like, because Pierce doesn't usually do something that obvious, but at the same time, maybe that is supposed to be an obvious thing that we've all reached to. But I really like that. I didn't think of Julia. Lysander would be an interesting one, because then what's his true end game? Like, why give her...
and the only other reason that I thought about Lysander is he makes a couple references to her where he's like, oh, I wonder what she's doing. I wonder if she is like out, if she still takes time in the stables to do these things. So he still thinks about her. So I don't know because it's so hard to, like, in the original trilogy, we just couldn't trust Darrow as a narrator. I still feel like I can't trust any of these people as narrators, because I feel like with Pierce's writing style, he's going to unveil something because the narrator was withholding that information from the reader.
Yep.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me that's like Abomination is it's like basically it's right after talking about how Cavix has lost both of his sons, and then she says, imagine the worst, and you're right, and the jackal's taken both of his sons.
Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, stay tuned for Red God.
Yeah.
Who knows when?
Soon.
Keep writing, Pierce.
Hope.
Keep writing. Yep. All right. Are we good for those chapters? Any last thoughts?
Not for me.
I don't think so.
All right.
I think those were all the points I thought about.
Well, thank you everybody for listening, watching, however you consume this media. Like and subscribe, comment, do all the things, get us in the algorithm. It helps a lot. And thanks everyone. Thank you, Salem, for joining us. We will see you at the end of the book. I don't think you're back until February, so see you then.
So long from now.
Yeah.
So long. We might have to have you drop in on somebody else's and just be like, hey, you're tag teaming because we're having Salem withdrawal.
Yeah.
But,
I'll pull a drill bit and I'll just pop in. It's fine.
Oh,
that's cool. Or Bottles. He did
Bottles
that too.
did it 2 weeks ago as well. We've learned to shut down this voice comms channel a little bit harder now. But we also, if you're in the Patreon, I'm sure we will do something with you between now and then, Salem. So join the Patreon. We're Fade to Obsidian on all the social medias, all the things we talk about, including the OnlyFans, right, Crescent?
I don't have a bottle to
the Rose Garden.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I've got a can.
There you go.
One's free. The teaser.
The rest, go to the Fade to Obsidian OnlyFans. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Thanks for listening to Fade to Obsidian, where Skipper and Crescent casually dissect the friendships, relationships, and those fade to black moments in the Red Rising saga. If you enjoy our chaos, please remember to like and subscribe on whatever platform you listen to podcasts. We are available on YouTube, Spotify, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to give us a follow on Instagram at Fade to Obsidian. And if you'd like behind-the-scenes content or to be involved firsthand in our chaotic decisions, subscribe to our Patreon for as little as $2 a month. For $5, you'll receive a monthly postcard from Crescent. Will it be one of the ones that we accidentally stole from Tulsa? I'm so sorry, Decopperless. And if you're crazy enough to trust Skipper with maybe sending you a postcard, our third tier is $100 a month. What? Please don't choose this option. Lastly, make sure to join the pack in the Howler's Den on Discord, discord.gg/thehowlersden, where we talk all things Red Rising. Until next time, Omnisphere Lupus.